What's going on, guys? You're looking around on the internet for an Ambit review. Maybe you had gone to a home presentation, or you had heard about some people who have free energy. And with this video that you're watching right now, I have with me a $1 million earner, someone who is one of the several years in a row top 30 income producers. And we're kind of going to talk about basically who Ambit is for and why you need to continue to pay attention to this before you actually join, and just ultimately to help you out with your decision. So I'd like to bring out a friend of mine here that I met earlier this year, and he is a member of the Co-Founders Leadership Council. He's earned his $1 million jacket, and I kind of want to know a little bit before. Richard, if you can come on out here, let us know what exactly that it is that you did before Ambit. You with me, Ryan? Are you live with me, buddy?
I am. Sorry, there's a little stumble there. I apologize. No, prior to Ambit, it's kind of a little bit of a longer journey, because it took me about 17 years to find something like this. I started off as a landscaper. College wasn't working out too well for me, and started knocking on doors, mowing yards, and then found a guy that knew how to do landscaping, so I made him a partner. We started growing that company and serving some of the highest net worth people in Dallas, and kind of thinking that, wow, someday I'm mowing all these yards, but could actually live in one of these houses. And so I was always looking for what was the next step up. I've been an investor in restaurants, a furniture store, and then we ended up in the mortgage business, my wife and I. And we saw that as a way that we could possibly leverage ourselves, take our knowledge, leverage ourselves, and have bigger paydays. And pretty soon what happened was that business owned us. Every waking moment we thought about mortgages and regulations and liabilities and rent and everything. And so we were running ragged. At that time we had 2 children. We were probably traveling every 2 weeks, working about 80 hours a week. So we certainly weren't taking vacations, and we certainly weren't spending a whole lot of time with each other, let alone our kids. So we were pretty ragged, but we had met our friends in the mortgage industry that approached us about Ambit, and really they approached us several times. At that time, we didn't really have a lot of tools to work with, so they had just said, listen, we need you to take a look at this. And really we were so busy, we couldn't even see straight, so we just didn't want one more thing on our plate. So really what they ended up doing was they said, listen, after about the 9th time that we told them no, they said, hey, there's a guy in your office. Seems like you got a pretty good personality. Can we talk to him? I said, yeah, here's his name, here's his number, good luck to you. We thought that was the end of it. Well, a couple of nights later, we're having dinner with them, and they said, listen, your guy's going to get started. Just want to know one thing. Do you want us to make all the money, or do you want to make some of the money? And at that time, I slid my credit card, and we joined Ambit. And that's how we got started with Ambit.
All right, and how long ago was that?
That was almost 8 years ago.
Wow.
That was September of 2006.
And so from the mortgage industry, transitioning to being full-time with Ambit, what exactly, how did that go?
Well, I mean, really, we were a sleeper. I mean, we joined, we had that one guy that, that had come in, and we did nothing for 6 months. Literally, we had no idea what we had our hands on. We didn't understand energy deregulation. I didn't know much about network marketing, other than I bought some products from friends that were with other companies from time to time, vitamins and different things, makeup for Mary, whatever. But we just didn't understand the concept of how to build a team in network marketing. And it was really after we started seeing these little residual checks show up. And it started kind of coming, a few months down the line, but they kept growing. And really, we had this change of circumstances, this change of events. I've heard people talk about, dig your well before you need it. Well, fortunately, we started Ambit about 6 months prior to when we actually really needed it, because when all the big banks started collapsing in 2007, we no longer had a way to complete our loans. And Mary looked at me and she said, listen, this Ambit thing is paying us some money. I'm going to go figure out how the compensation plan works, and we're going to go figure out how to play with this for a little while so we can get into something that's more stable. Because, again, we were not thinking that this was our transition vehicle. Within about 2-3 months after that, had gotten our income up to the point to where we could replace it and walk away from our mortgage company. So from the day that we joined Ambit to the day that we walked away from our 4 mortgage offices, that took about 10 months. And reality, it was about 4 months of work, because the first 6 months we didn't do a lot. And at that time, we were just in Texas, and we had just barely opened up New York City to kind of get started with. But we took the leap of faith, and then that's when we really kicked it in.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think a lot of people could probably relate to that. I know that myself, I got my degree from Texas A&M and started working my job, and I realized that, basically building another income stream outside of what I was getting paid was going to be necessary at some point. And I didn't really foresee the fact that I was going to get laid off, but luckily, just like you guys, I got started with something and started working it. And about 7 months prior, when that actually did happen, when the legs got knocked off the table with my income, something is there for it. So I'm sure a lot of people can kind of look into that. And so, as you mentioned that you haven't really been in network marketing a bunch. You weren't a network marketing professional or anything. But what is it about Ambit that you really like the most?
I think the main thing is I never felt like I was selling anything. Everyone was already buying it, and though I only had access to one state and one city in another state, I just never felt like I was selling anything. I always knew that my customer was going to go ahead and get it for a cheaper price. They were going to pay less for something that they were going to have to pay every month, which made it became real simple where I could actually train somebody up pretty quickly to go do the exact same thing. In the mortgage industry, we had to get people prepared and take them through several weeks of training and knowledge-based intensive type studying just so they could pass the exam. And even after they passed the exam, sometimes they just didn't have the stomach to make it all the way through, a loan process or getting that first loan. So you'd have someone that might be with you for 2-3 months, and then they were just completely gone because they didn't make any money. Whereas with Ambit, we could get somebody started pretty quickly. They could earn their first check their first week and replicate that cycle and start building up that future residual pool.
Gotcha. So you're saying that this is kind of something that basically, unlike the mortgage industry, really anybody could get started with, or who exactly is Ambit for?
I think it's for anybody, personally. I mean, we've got 18-year-olds to 90-year-olds on our team that are building the business. We've got a slew of new generation of young leaders that are coming up. They're, some of them, this is their first chance at network marketing, and I applaud them because they've picked a winner. We've got people that are literally just trying to figure a way to cover the rest of the month, and they don't want to have to distribute a ton of time towards a part-time job or multiple shifts at work or whatever it is that they do. This is something that anybody, I don't care how busy your schedule is or how unbusy your schedule is, you can do this part-time. You can carve 15 to 20 minutes to 30 minutes a day to get your business started, and as you start getting your sea legs with this business, my personal opinion is as you get rewarded more and more in the business, you're going to contribute more time. As your team begins to grow, you're going to be more engaged and continue to build the business. So personally, I think it's for anyone. I don't care what income bracket you're in. I don't care what income bracket you don't think you're in or what your educational level is. It is for anybody that is looking to create an additional stream of income that is truly passive.
Awesome, yeah. So that's kind of pretty good for anybody watching this right now. They're still kind of paying attention. They see that maybe they realize that this is something that they could use or something that they at least want to know a little bit more of. So from your place, $1 million earner, being able to help hundreds of people get started on your team and really get up and moving and start having success. Where do you see this going in the next couple of years down the line?
Well, I'm probably more excited about the next several years than the previous because I wish I would have known now what has happened. Back when we got started. Starting with just Texas. Looking at the possibility of maybe we'd go into other states, but there was no marketing plan for that. And then I've just seen 13 states open up. We're not even fully deployed in all 13 of those states. We just have minimal market share. You look at Texas, we got about 6% market share. New York, we get about 3% market share. Everywhere else is less than 1% market share. So it is a deep, deep opportunity that's out there just in those states, which is why we've got people that are building this business from Alaska to Puerto Rico, from Israel. I mean, they are building it because they know all they have to do is be able to have a phone or an internet connection, and they can make contact with relationships and build in those other markets. I look at the next 8 years. it's very conceivable that we could be in another 13 plus states. We could be sitting at 26, 30 states, and we're still just going to be scratching the surface. Energy deregulation is got to be one of the hottest topics in our country. It's essential. It's necessary. All these states have a need for deregulation. Consumers have a need for deregulation, and I just can't imagine someone coming up with a viable argument of that there's not a need for it. We've proven it time and time again over the years. Monopolies do not perform well. Ambit's coming in, created a competitive offer, great benefits to the consumers, and listen, unfortunately we've hurt the former monopolies. I think we've made it better for the consumers, but by default, some of the monopolies have been hurt by that. And but really, we're for the consumer. So the next 8 years, more states, maybe some countries. We know deregulation's happening around the world. Someday we might be doing translation in Japanese. I don't know, but I do know that that it's going to continue to grow around the world, and people are going to continue to consume electricity regardless of alternative power sources. Someone's going to have a meter at their house. It's going to be spinning, and someone's going to be getting paid on that meter spinning. And my personal goal is to have as many of those meters as possible under my household.
Well, that makes a lot of sense, yeah. So I'd imagine, anybody watching this still, you got a good idea of what's going on, but if there ever are any other questions that they have, I suppose we could put some links directly below here to maybe your website or Facebook or something where somebody could go to get a little bit more information.
Absolutely. We've got some great short videos that people can take a look at, get a high-level overview, and then certainly we'd be available to talk with them and answer any questions that we could possibly do for them.
All right, awesome. Well, thank you very much for your time, Richard. For those of y'all watching this, if you're still not really sure or not positive you're ready to make a decision or to get started, or work towards the free energy program, which actually, before we do that, you can go ahead and click on us, connect with us on Facebook, or check out those videos. But tell us a little bit, real quick, before I let you go, Richard, about the free energy program, because I think that's something really exciting that anybody can kind of grab a hold of.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that has got to be the game changer for us. We started that program several years ago, so literally we have hundreds and thousands of customers that are literally paying $7, $8, $9, $10 a month for the electricity bill, or maybe their gas bill as well, because all those customers did was simply just refer 15 customers. And when those 15 customers pay a bill every month, the company is going to give them a credit. They're not going to give them a check. They're just going to take it off their bill, and that's going to be in the form of a free energy credit, and it's just going to reduce. It's tax-free income. So you're looking at, you used $150 worth of electricity that month, and your free energy credit was $130. So your bill comes out to be $20 plus tax, let's say. But that credit comes every month just off of those same customers. And obviously, it's a program that has set us apart for quite some time, and yeah, I don't know. I'm stopped.
That's all right. I mean, it sounds good. So you're saying basically that Ambit, you guys have competitive rates. Anybody can get started and sign up and start paying less than they were previously, or at least amongst the competitors that you know of. You guys have always been competitive, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. We've always been competitive. I mean, one of the reasons why we've grown at the level that we have, I mean, we're relationship marketing, so we can't be signing friends and families up and sticking them with high rates. That's not, finest and most respected is one of our core values. So we're certainly not going to sacrifice that either. But as far as us being consistently with our pricing, I think that's proven over time. It's why we have an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. We've been ranked with J.D. Powers and Associates. So, everyone that's legitimately out there looking out for consumers, Ambit is the gold standard when it comes to that.
Gotcha. So less than the competitors. You save 15 of your friends or family or anyone you know some money on their bill, and then you
Right.
get free energy. And then when they start to do the same thing, when that does start to duplicate through the organization, that's kind of how you had built up that residual income that eventually gave you the option, or at least the confidence that you have the option to go full-time with this, right?
Absolutely. In the beginning, it takes time to build a residual. But for the past almost 6 years now, we have lived on residual income. We don't work to pay our bills. I've never experienced anything like this. Every company I've ever owned, I've had to work 6 days a week and crazy hours, and yet I could never take time off of work. This past summer, over the past 8 weeks, we've taken 4 vacations with the family, and those are non-working trips. And so I could have never done that before with any business that I owned. This has been an absolute godsend. I get to wake up, and I just really, my predominant thought is, who do I get to help today? It's not about going to get a paycheck. We're going to get paid regardless because of the work that we've done. Our job is to go help other people get there.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So I guess we're helping the viewers right now. We've got some links directly below here. You can connect on Facebook or go check out those videos that Richard was talking about. But hopefully this has been enough. Like, share, and comment with this video if this has been helpful to you. And check out those links below.